hosted by Mina Kuper, 98.1 FM, 1220 AM, KHTS Radio here in Santa Clarita. And I am super excited to share with you more about what we do. Some of you may know that listen to my show frequently. I hope you do. We talk to people about the process of estate planning, probate, divorce, and all the fun things, financials, everything that comes into play. Because obviously, when people have had a life together, there are issues, and they cannot be issues. They could just be things that you enjoy and want to keep. And today I have an amazing guest with me, Armie Baltazar, and she is an amazing mediation attorney. And so she deals with collaborative divorce mediation and is just an amazing person and is very smart. When I say smart, she understands how to help people evaluate what they really want out of each other, right? Because you're going to look for help. And we talked a little bit, privately, and it's true because I deal with real estate and people either, passing or people wanting to get divorced. And, some things that people say they want, it's not really what they want. It's just some other issue that comes up. And if people try to get mature enough to understand the process of themselves and learn more about themselves, they will learn how to deal better with life in general. And Armie, so I think that, because people always hear people fighting in court, right? Arguing and fighting. It was horrible, and the judge was bad, and everybody there was horrible, and then we waited 35 hours, and then nobody went to see us, and they postponed it for tomorrow.
Right.
And, we spent $40,000 already, and that's it's a usual story. It doesn't fall short in most big cities. So tell the audience about mediation and collaborative divorce, and when should someone make an appointment to see you?
Well, first off, let me say thank you so much for that really kind introduction. That was very, very sweet of you. I appreciate that, and I'm really happy to be here. I basically, the main thing that I want people to know, whether they choose mediation or collaborative, is that if somebody is thinking about divorce, what they've seen on TV, the nightmare sort of that you described, is not the only option.
Right.
It's really important that that's known, because we kind of all think that when we think of divorce, because that's what we've seen on TV. But there are actually better ways of doing it. I mean, there's no doubt that divorce sucks. To put it, artfully.
We've all heard that word. It does.
Sucks,
nothing good about it.
But there is a way to make it suck less.
Yes,
I would
that's
say.
right. That's right. And you have a better life, right? As an individual, as a person, you can move on in a healthy way, regardless of what you think and the anger or resentment you have towards that other person.
Yes, that's definitely true. And look, litigation, what we've seen on TV, it's not that it doesn't have its place. It absolutely does. There are circumstances where that's necessary to get a restraining order or to handle something that's an immediate emergency.
Yes.
Right. But there are non-litigated ways that people can go through a divorce. I mean, a lot of times people sit together and talk with each other, and they just need the help of a professional to draft the paperwork, or like the actual nuts and bolts of getting a divorce, right? You have to file the petition, you do your disclosures, eventually there's a judgment to get you through that process.
Right.
But sometimes people need some extra help. So, for example, mediation is a process where it's a voluntary process, and if both parties agree, they sit with a neutral mediator to try to help them understand themselves, each other, the realities they face, and try to craft a solution that works for both of them. And the key is that they get to decide. It's not a judge or somebody else who's deciding your life, your kids, your financial stuff for you. It's you guys who are in control. Right. And there's also another process called collaborative law, which is it's a team approach. Each person has a lawyer, and there are coaches also to handle some of the the things that come up that deal with the emotions. But everybody signs an agreement that says we're not going to go to court with these lawyers. We're committed to doing a process where we meet, we uncover what the issues are, and try to reach a resolution without ever going to court. So people are represented in the process as opposed to mediation, where they're usually not.
Right.
But they're represented, but they're committed to not using these lawyers for court. So if it falls out of this collaborative process, everybody got to get new lawyers,
Right, right. And that's a lot of time trying to figure out, because I think when there's adultery, that, some people are like, I will never see that person again. And you know what? People are human. And whatever reason why they did what they did, it doesn't make it right. But at the end of the day, you have to look at what do you want out of life. Because all kinds of things happen in life, right? We don't have a crystal ball. And people stray, and I'm not saying it's right, but, you can let them go, but in a civilized way, especially when you have children. I think that's a good way to, you produced a family. At some point, you liked each other. And you need to think about what's our future look like?
Yeah.
Right? Not being stuck in that, he hurt me, how could he do this, or how could she do this?
Right.
They do it. Temptation's there all day. They do it.
Adultery is a really tough one because California, at least, is a no-fault state.
Right.
So just the fact that somebody strayed, had an affair, isn't going to really change anything.
No.
It's generally not even relevant.
That's right. They don't care.
Right. But it plays a huge role.
Yes.
Right? Because you're still dealing with two people who come with everything that they're feeling in that moment.
That's right.
And that could include the aftermath of an affair.
Right.
And to be fair and to really take a more whole look at it, even an affair, it's really hard to sort of pinpoint in a way, where does that even come from?
Right.
What was the circumstance that made it possible or made somebody willing to do that? I mean, you
don't know.
Can't just look at it as okay, black and white. This
person's something's wrong with me, and you internalize it. Something's wrong with me or you, and that's not always the case. It could be a self-validation thing that the person needed, whether a midlife crisis or whatever. Doesn't make it. You don't have to stay with them. Sometimes people work through it. There are a lot of people. There are famous people. They're in politics and all kinds of other high-profile environments where there were bumpy roads in their marriage, and they stayed with it. And a lot of them, it simmered.
Yeah.
It simmered. They were able to sustain it. And, it depends, if you want to stay in the marriage, how you're going to, maybe the way you are in the marriage will change, right? So that you realize you're two independent people, although you're married. It's a +1. You have kids together. And if you can be civilized with each other and, people make mistakes, you can talk about it, go to therapy, mediate, try to stay out of a divorce situation if you can. And if both people want to work through it, and then see where that goes, But understand that there are many people that have had rocky roads in their marriage and stayed with it.
Yeah. So that's for sure. And for those who whose marriage doesn't survive it, it's very hard. It's a hard element to have in there, but it's not a unique element, right? And even if it isn't adultery, there is some other, oftentimes, a betrayal of trust. There's something else. So you're always going to have this emotion. And so I'm really a proponent of finding a way through the divorce that doesn't make things worse.
Yes.
Overall, but also for yourself.
Yeah.
For yourself. How you go through a process, how that leaves you and your life.
Right. It's how you deal with yourself now. Who cares about that other person? Because you can't make people do things. You can't change the way they feel. And most of the time, internally, you don't know really how they feel and what they went through in life.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't. This doesn't mean that we let go of the hurt or anything like that. But imagine you have that hurt and you are directly in litigation. And, the currency of litigation is so much
It's intense.
blame. I win, you lose. So if anything, it stokes
It's a cat fight.
division. Right. As opposed to a process that doesn't say, oh, those things didn't exist and you guys have to be all like, oh, everything is great, because it's not.
Right.
In the end, you still have two people who are often very upset at each other.
Right.
But are just choosing, for reasons that they see could benefit them, a process that isn't litigation. So you still have all of that upset. It's not being denied, but at least you're in an environment that has some room for understanding.
Yes.
If not understanding and forgiveness, then at least a resolution that is less destructive, less costly,
Right.
something that allows some semblance of communication and a relationship. And I mean, think about this difference, especially in a family with kids.
Right.
Even if your kids are adults.
Yeah.
We often don't even think about adults' kids.
But it does affect them because
Absolutely.
they can look, they're still kids no matter how old you are. You're still someone's kid. You can be 50, you can be 40.
Absolutely.
You're still someone's kid. And when you see your parents behave a certain way, it affects you. Because
It's
you're
shocking, isn't it?
It's amazing because that little child comes out
Yeah.
of that adult body, right?
Yeah.
And whatever, stuff that you had going on when you were a kid comes up again.
Yeah.
Right? And it's almost like you're a kid again. And so it does affect the older children and how they deal with their significant others and their children because, there's one thing, either they will go the same path or they rebel and go completely the opposite path, right? But, setting an example and put all your environmental things aside and try to be a new person for who you want to be. Who do you want to show up as? Who cares about the extra nickel and, whatever, I mean, at the end of the day, what kind of life do you want to live? What kind of life do you want your children to live?
Yeah.
Right? Because the world is open to possibilities. Okay, when you put out good vibes to the universe, I like to do storyboards. I do that with my kids. And it's
that's
amazing. It's amazing and never too young to do them or too old. Because what you put on paper gives you clarity. And you have to put it exactly how you want it, right? And I think these are really good steps. And I doubt most people be like sitting there miserable and, with 10 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
And the kids are on their own.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone wants that storyboard, right? So what does your storyboard look like? What does your vision board look like?
Yeah, you know what? At least as an aspirational thing to keep, I think that's brilliant, because there is no doubt that even as you aspire to those things, I'm going to be that person, whether it's my life in general or in my divorce or anything, you're still going to have those other moments where it's like, I'm not my best self. I mean, I know I have those moments in my life.
Oh, we all do.
They exist.
We're all human.
Right. They exist kind of at the same time, but at least to have the possibility of that better way available, to put yourself in an environment that supports that. Have that storyboard.
Right.
Even if you're going through a divorce.
Right.
Think about,
That's real.
think about it. Maybe you can put yourself in an environment that supports that better version, then try it. Even if at the same time you're feeling all the,
what's that song again? Pick yourself up and try again. Right? You get off the horse and, just brush it off of you, right? As much as it was painful, it was horrible, I can't believe he did it, and what are they doing? Just brush it off of you, get it out of you, and wake up in the morning fresh and do your vision boards, right? Do your vision boards. That doesn't include that other person. Okay? Because people will have something they may not be pretty to look at. When you're wishing them, something bad. But, I think that showing yourself visually, that vision board, that person, as angry as you are, even if they're living in the same house with you, that negative energy starts to dissipate because you're going to a happy place and looking at that happy place, what that looks like.
Yeah.
Switches your brain chemistry.
Even if you can do that for just a little bit.
Yes.
Let's say most of your day is the other stuff.
Yeah, it happens.
And
You're dealing with it.
Right. You have a conversation with a friend that's positive or just something. And then eventually, I mean, I do believe, and of course I've experienced in my life, time the healer.
Yes, time is a healer. That's right.
When you are ahead, I mean, it might really seem like crap and feel like crap and be crap now.
Yeah, that's okay. You're allowed to.
When you see yourself 10 years from now and look back.
That's right. It was accomplishment.
It'll feel different.
You feel accomplished because you did it in such a dynamic way and positive way. And, Armie, I do want to have you back again. And I know that people are going to want to talk to you because there are people that are maybe in that space now. And lots of people, instead of hitting the hard court system, how's a good way for them to get in touch with you?
Oh, and I'd love to speak with them too. I'm passionate about this.
I know you are, and that's why I love you so much. You really care. It's not about volume of people. You are going to help people really figure it out. That's your mission. It's almost like a soulful thing from you, to be so wanting to do something because it's a game changer that you see. You've changed someo's life.
Yeah, I've just, I did it the other way for way too many years, and it was like, man.
Eat your way.
You get to a point in life when you're like, wait a minute, nope, not going to be a part of that anymore.
And what's a good phone number? Is that the easiest way? Because we're on Facebook page,
awesome.
KHTS, so you can, if you're listening on the radio, you can go to your Facebook and see and message Armie on KHTS Hometown Station page. If you have Facebook, you'll see this, and you can do it at night whenever you want. But you can reach out to me on Thursdays, 12 to 1. But what's a good phone number for people?
The best phone number is my office phone number. It's Hammers and Baltazar. I'm Armine and Baltazar, and it's 310-458-0796.
Great. Do you want to repeat that one more time?
Yeah, sure. It's 310-458-0796.
That's wonderful. I just talking to you, I feel like screaming out to everybody, but I'm not going to scream because we're on national radio, but that probably wouldn't. I know people do it all the time. They want to make a name for themselves, but I don't want to be the screamer. No. But please, listen to this and take it seriously because your actions have a domino effect in your life. And it's so very important that you follow the path of peace, right? Because it creates a much better life for everyone and everyone around you. And I leave you with that. We'll be back after the break. Thank you.
Are you looking for help with your online marketing? Do you need a professional website design? Do you want to increase your sales and get more leads? Then you need Abby Perez, CEO of Digital Concept. Abby has 15 years of experience helping businesses with all of their online marketing needs. She and her team will work tirelessly to get you the results you deserve. They offer a free in-depth analysis. Call Abby Perez and the Digital Concept team today and let them help you take your business to the next level at 800-531-0872 or visit digitalconceptmarketing.com.
Jerry Holt at Brook & Sons Inspections, with over 40 years of experience in the construction industry, has performed thousands of home inspections. Jerry Holt, once a city building inspector and general contractor, knows exactly what you need to look for when buying a home. Serving LA, Ventura, and Orange counties. Call Brook & Sons with any questions. They're here to serve you. Call Brook & Sons Inspections at 747-336-9849 or email at brookandsonsinc@gmail.com for your free quote.
Mark J. Marcus is a bankruptcy attorney in Burbank. He's helped his clients eliminate debts, stop foreclosures, and wage garnishments in Chapter 7, 13, and Chapter 11 bankruptcy cases in the greater Los Angeles area since 1991. He is a certified specialist in bankruptcy law by the State Bar of California Board of Legal Specialization. If you're facing debt problems such as mortgages, taxes, credit cards, debts from divorce, medical, and others, contact Mark to schedule an appointment. 818-509-1173.
Richard Wang is an attorney and founding partner with Viridian Mortgage, a residential mortgage broker specializing in Disney-level customer service for residential purchase and refinance transactions. Richard leads a team of dream makers that prepare buyers to present the winning offer while securing the most competitive loan terms and in industry-leading turnaround times. Ask Richard Wang about their no-income and zero down payment loans for medical professionals by calling 408-828-5609 today.
Mina Kuper is a certified realtor focusing on trusts, probates, 1031 exchanges, divorce, and much more. She's a specialist. Mina has published books on inherited and divorced properties and business dissolutions. Ready to sell? Call Mina Kuper. Need your property renovated? Mina Kuper will help. No out-of-pocket expense. Pay at escrow. Mina Kuper, Keller Williams Realty, serving Santa Clarita, Ventura County, LA County, Orange County, and San Diego. Call 310-345-8500 or go to listedbyminakuper.com.
Skyline Smiles is a full-service, high-tech dental office located in Skyline Ranch Plaza on Plum Canyon Road in Santa Clarita. Dr. Harleen Graywall, founder and CEO, provides full-service dentistry as well as dental Botox for TMJ issues. Skyline Smiles strives to provide the best dental experience for you and your family. Visit Skyline Smiles Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or call at 661-244-4036.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Hi, welcome back to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, estate planning, and divorce. And this is a really cool show. The more I do it, the more I like it, because I really love helping people, right? And we work as a team, right? We work as a team to help people get through what they get through. And we're passionate. We're my professionals and myself, we're passionate about what we do. Money is secondary, right? To us, because we chose this path for a reason, and we are devoted to making it happen for people. And I have an amazing next guest, Patricia De Fonte, and she is an exceptional estate planning attorney and probate attorney, and she has a little twist. She works with people. Her focus is working with people that are getting divorced, in the process of divorce, or after divorce, but hopefully while you're getting divorced. And people will think, well, why do you need that? So, Patricia, thank you for being on my show. I really am excited because I love all you do for people, because I get feedback from people that have gone to you for various reasons, and divorce being one of them, because it's a big issue, right? And it can be very, very costly. So let's first talk about estate planning, where it all starts.
Thank you so much for having me here. And just so that people have an idea who I am and why anybody should listen to me, I'll just run off my credentials. My name is Patricia De Fonte. I'm an estate planning attorney, headquarters in San Francisco, but my team and I work with clients all over California. I have a super lawyer designation. I have a torch award from the Better Business Bureau for ethics, and they told me that they hardly ever, if ever, have given one of those to a lawyer. And I have a master's in estate planning, trust administration, and probate. Also recently published in the Estate Planning Strategies Collective Wisdom book by Wealth Counsel. And I have a chapter on the divorcing client. This is a big part of what I do. I work with happy, proactive people. And just because you are going through a divorce does not mean that we cannot help you get back to being a happy, proactive person.
So who needs estate planning, and why start the process and reviewing your estate plan while you're getting divorced?
Well, the bad news is that everybody has an estate plan, and it's provided for you by the state of California. If you bump your head and you can't take care of yourself anymore, then someone, maybe somebody who loves you, but maybe just someone, will go to court to get the authority to boss you around, to make all of the decisions for you, where you will live, what kind of health care you'll receive, and what happens to your money. If you don't take affirmative steps, there's also an estate plan for what happens to your stuff, and it's all by statute, and it goes to your blood relatives. So I don't know if you like your blood relatives, but that's who's going to get your stuff. And if you are married and you don't think you want to stay married, then your spouse is going to get it. And if you're unmarried and you'd like your partner to get it, they're not going to get it unless you take some affirmative steps. The third part of estate planning, because there's, conservatorship, and then going through the court system after you die for your assets to get distributed. And then for children, it's the children are a place where it's necessary and convenient if you bump your head and can't take care of them or when you die. So guardianship is a really big piece of estate planning. And so, just from bumping your head, really estate planning is something that people need as soon as they become adults, as soon as they're 18 years old. The way that you avoid this California default plan in response to what about me, what about my stuff, and what about my kids is you need to sign documents that give your people that you trust completely the authority to do exactly what it is that you want them to do, and to provide a court with information on how you want your children to be raised, who should be raising them, why maybe your ex or your sister or your parents are not the best people, although they might seem the obvious choices. It's important to take this and really look at it in the face and make some really clear decisions so that you're not subject to the whims of a judge who just might be having a bad day.
Right. And that's about right. I've, since I in that wheelhouse, I've had people, people that didn't have a trust or a estate or confusion of some things and exclude certain people. They died during the probate. And, that's funky because people don't anticipate that either. And that's another thing, right? In the middle of a divorce or in the middle of something, we're not thinking what happens if you become incapacitated. And it doesn't matter how old you are, unfortunately, right? We hear about people getting ill at all ages. And, we don't have a crystal ball. But wouldn't it be nice, in the back of your mind, you cross your T's and dotted your I's. You're going to start this journey. Life is changing. Or you need to reevaluate every few years. How often should you reevaluate your estate plan?
I think it's really important to look at your estate plan every 3 years. And you might feel that, well, I looked at my documents and, my assets are about the same and all the people are the same and there's really nothing to do here. But what you don't know is whether or not there's been a huge change in the law. And over the last few years, we've had some really big changes regarding retirement accounts, really big changes regarding real estate. And there have been some funny small cases out of small courts that have had a big impact on the way estate planning lawyers draft. And so it's really important to go back and see your lawyer every 3 years just to make sure that you're not missing anything. And it's a good opportunity for the lawyer to make sure that if you have a trust, that it actually works, because the lawyer will ask you, how do you own your house? What's going on with your bank accounts? Who are the beneficiaries for your life insurance policy? It's important that your trust actually addresses all of your assets. And it's really easy to lose track of that as time goes by because life is intense and we're all moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And it's easy to forget when you start a new job who the beneficiary in your life insurance policy should be. It's easy to forget when your bank gets swallowed up by another bank that you really need to go and look and see how you hold that account and who the beneficiary on that account is.
Right, because it could be different in the trust. So what happens if you have a couple of accounts you opened a gazillion years ago, and then you have a trust, and you forgot to change the beneficiary on those accounts, but the trust says something different?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's not good.
You see? That's why you need someone thorough like Patricia De Fonte. Make sure the title is in the right place, too, of the properties, because that's a probate.
Yes, it is very, very, this happened to some of my neighbors. Their father passed away.
Gosh.
And the trust said the two children get everything equally. But he had a $400,000 bank account, and he left it only to his daughter. And the brother is furious. And at first she said, well, I'll give you the money. And then she decided she didn't want to give him the money. And then they thought about it, and she's not obligated to give him the money. And so now we have completely destroyed family harmony. These two do not talk to each other anymore. It is the talk of the neighborhood.
My goodness.
Everybody's gossiping about them. They're both miserable and furious with each other, and they're furious with their father who's dead.
Right.
So it's just a mess. It's really important that you make sure everything is lined up, that
Right.
everything makes sense, that your documents actually do what you want them to do.
Right.
And if you ever hear anybody say, oh, we did our estate plan 10, 15, 20 years ago.
We're good.
Oh my gosh, drag that person back to a lawyer, because that plan is not going to work.
Right. And a lot changes exactly with the laws and all that jazz. And, I had a client, it was a friend of mine, actually. They were supposed to take, it was a divorce situation. They were supposed to take, the wife quitclaimed the house to the father, who actually got custody of all four girls. And the parents were both professionals. And 10 years later, calls me up. He says, you're not going to believe this. There's a lien on my house, an IRS tax lien. The lawyer who got $500,000 for trying them to get divorced ended up going to a different route anyway. But he had to pay that IRS tax lien, so nobody quitclaimed her off the title. And
oh my.
So anybody, and I find this quite often. People get attorneys and all kinds of things, and I pull up title. That's the first thing I do when I go to sell a property, or we're thinking about it. I pull up title. And sometimes I'm like, this is not okay. No one changed title in the name of the trust, or no one took them off title because they're still owner of the house. When someone goes to put a judgment, they're going to do it because the house is still in their name, regardless of the IRS. They don't care about the quitclaim deed. They're just looking to get their money. And so is everybody else, a judgment or whatever. And I'm like, gosh, I said, the party was over, but nobody finished it, So that's why I feel what you do is so important.
Let's talk about holding title.
Yeah.
First of all, please do not put your children on the title to your house. This is not estate planning. This has a very negative consequence for your children when you die. And it also can have a very negative outcome for you if your children go out and incur some liability. If they all of a sudden owe somebody else money, now part of what they own, even if they're not aware of it, is your house. Mm-hmm. And so you put your kid on. I have clients, we always pull deeds for every single client, for themselves and for all of their family members, because we wanted to be number
smart.
one. Is it
They're very good that you do that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. And number two, did mom or dad put one of the kids on title? And one woman had put all 5 of her kids on title to the house because her neighbor said it was a good estate planning idea. Please don't take legal advice from your neighbors.
The dog walker said, oh, it was great. Sure, did it.
Even if I'm your neighbor, I'm not giving you legal advice unless you hire me. We don't give legal advice without having an attorney-client relationship. She had put all 5 on the deed, including the 19-year-old with 4 DUIs.
Oh, good Lord.
He has no insurance. Imagine. And so it was quite expensive to undo and unwind all of that for her with her lawyer. But the rest of the family was very happy. And guess who didn't want to quitclaim the house back to mom? The kid with the 4 DUI.
Wow.
Because now he owned 20% of the house.
My goodness.
He didn't want to give it back. So that was a nightmare. It's really important. I hear people say all the time, I want to take title in the trust. I want you to be really, really careful with this. It's really important to understand how you own your real estate. Mm-hmm. What happens if you're a married couple when one of you dies and the other one wants to sell? Are they going to have any capital gains exposure? It really matters whether it says joint tenancy or community property. There are different results on death and different results on divorce. If you are being encouraged by a title company or the lender or a mortgage broker to take title as trustees, I beg of you, do not do this without seeing an estate planning lawyer first.
Very good.
Or a family law attorney first, because you don't understand what it is that you're getting yourself into. I recently talked to a woman whose mother had given her $2 million to buy a house here in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. She took title as community property with right of survivorship. Now they're getting a divorce, and he's getting half, most likely, because he's entitled to half. Now, if she had also taken title as trustees, the California default for that is community property. So you want to be really, really careful. Where's the money coming from? Who's actually buying this house?
So you have to marry someone that doesn't know what they're doing. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Oh, maybe I'm not.
It's really, really sticky. And Mina, you see it because you work with a lot of divorcing clients when they're selling their homes.
Yes.
And so you see and you hear about the fights as to who's going to get, how much of the appreciation is going to this one and that one, and what is a fair split. And I'm sure you hear all the complaints because when they bought the house, they didn't understand the legal square that they were putting themselves into. And now that they're on the other side of that, they are not happy with the results.
Well, here's a question, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, couple lives together, like they're married, but they're not married.
So an unmarried couple.
Unmarried couple. The one of the people buys a property with the help of their family members, parents, and the boyfriend is paying the mortgage. But he's not on title.
Oh, my unmarried couples, my lovers, I don't need a piece of paper.
I told them to talk to an attorney.
Cowboys and cowgirls.
I told them to talk to an attorney. Yeah.
Yes, 2 attorneys. So the first thing that I do when I work with unmarried couples is I ask that they meet with a family law attorney, and they need to figure out one of 3 things. Are we going to get married? Are we going to get married with a prenup, or are we going to have a cohabitation agreement?
Well, what we're going to do? We're going to have a break in about a minute, and we're going to go back because I think that we're going to have a break, a commercial break, and we're going to come back because I think that people are going to want to know what to do because this is a lovebird question that doesn't turn out sometimes to be very loving. So we'll be back.
Mark J. Marcus is a bankruptcy attorney in Burbank. He's helped his clients eliminate debts, stop foreclosures, and wage garnishments. In Chapter 7, 13, and Chapter 11 bankruptcy cases in the greater Los Angeles area since 1991. He is a certified specialist in bankruptcy law by the State Bar of California Board of Legal Specialization. If you're facing debt problems such as mortgages, taxes, credit cards, debts from divorce, medical, and others, contact Mark to schedule an appointment. 818-509-1173.
Jerry Holt at Brook & Sons Inspections, with over 40 years of experience in the construction industry, has performed thousands of home inspections. Jerry Holt, once a city building inspector and general contractor, knows exactly what you need to look for when buying a home. Serving LA, Ventura, and Orange counties. Call Brook & Sons with any questions. They're here to serve you. Call Brook & Sons Inspections at 747-336-9849 or email at brookandsonsinc@gmail.com for your free quote.
Are you looking for help with your online marketing? Do you need a professional website design? Do you want to increase your sales and get more leads? Then you need Abby Perez, CEO of Digital Concept. Abby has 15 years of experience helping businesses with all of their online marketing needs. She and her team will work tirelessly to get you the results you deserve. They offer a free in-depth analysis. Call Abby Perez and the Digital Concept team today and let them help you take your business to the next level at 800-531-0872 or visit digitalconceptmarketing.com.
Richard Wang is an attorney and founding partner with Viridian Mortgage, a residential mortgage broker specializing in Disney-level customer service for residential purchase and refinance transactions. Richard leads a team of dream makers that prepare buyers to present the winning offer while securing the most competitive loan terms and in industry-leading turnaround times. Ask Richard Wang about their no-income and zero down payment loans for medical professionals by calling 408-828-5609 today.
Mina Kuper is a certified realtor focusing on trusts, probates, 1031 exchanges, divorce, and much more. She's a specialist. Mina has published books on inherited and divorced properties and business dissolutions. Ready to sell? Call Mina Kuper. Need your property renovated? Mina Kuper will help. No out-of-pocket expense. Pay at escrow. Mina Kuper, Keller Williams Realty, serving Santa Clarita, Ventura County, LA County, Orange County, and San Diego. Call 310-345-8500 or go to listedbyminakuper.com. Many families face a new challenge. Childcare has forced one parent out of the workforce. Otter has created a solution. Otter is a childcare marketplace that connects Santa Clarita parents who need childcare with stay-at-home parents who can care for your kids alongside their own. Otter unlocks the ability for those parents to earn money and provide badly needed childcare for our valley. Otter connects you with your neighbors. Register for free at withotter.com. Withotter.com. Otter, childcare that feels like family.
I love it.
Right on!
Your hometown station.
Welcome back to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. We're at 98.1 FM, 1220 AM, and we are also on, if you do Facebook, we're on KHTS Hometown Station page. It's a great page. They have a lot of stuff. And also there's an app for KHTS. You can download an app if you don't use those social media pages, or you can listen to us if you're in the area at 98.1 FM. So we were getting into a really juicy scenario, and it happens all the time, the lovebird scenario. Doesn't matter how old you are. So we talked about what happens if your boyfriend lives in the house with you that your parents have given you money to buy, and you're thinking about doing an estate plan that excludes him. Obviously, you're not married, and you want him to pay the mortgage, so you feel like he's doing his share, right? Because he's living there, and you want to be a nice girlfriend. So what do you think of that, Patricia?
Yeah, so I'm going to broaden it a little bit. I really like your story, but let me make it even broader.
Okay, Patricia De Fonte, you go, girl.
This is a house that you bought with your own money. Maybe you guys are renting an apartment, and you are starting a business, and they are helping you somewhat. It is really dangerous with unmarried couples. You might be inadvertently creating a situation where a judge could say, well, I can see an implied contract there. I can see that by you paying for this, you were anticipating an ownership interest in this. There is a whole area of the law called palimony that governs what happens to the assets when unmarried people split up. So it doesn't mean that just because you're not married, you break up and you walk away with your toys and they walk away with their toys. Mm-hmm. When I, as an estate planning lawyer, work with an unmarried couple, the first thing I do is I send them to a family law attorney, because what they need to figure out is they have to do one of three things. Number one, they have to get married, or they get married with a prenup, and a prenup is a tactic. It doesn't mean you don't love each other, and you don't have to tell your mom about it. It's just something that says, I don't like the California family law code. Right. There are parts of it that just don't work for us and for me, and I don't want to opt into that. So I'm going to get married, but I'm going to have a prenup. Or you can have a cohabitation agreement. And what a cohabitation agreement does is it sets the rules of your game should you break up. So if your partner is living in your home, your cohabitation agreement would say, listen, this is my house, and I expect you to contribute expenses. You know, you can pay rent and utilities and help me with the property taxes because you live here, and that seems fair. But if we break up, this is still my house. And so you paid those things for the opportunity to live here, but not because you were gaining an equity interest in my assets. If you don't do one of these three things, get married with a prenup, or go have a cohabitation agreement, if you break up, I don't know what's going to happen, because people sue each other for this stuff all the time.
All the time.
And it's really big with real estate, and it's really big with startups and software. Mm-hmm. Huge. What you also have to remember is doing that step, that's only about what happens to your stuff if you break up. You still have to do the estate planning part, which is what happens to my stuff when I die. And I've seen a lot of really dangerous situations where I have an unmarried couple, one of them is on title to the house, or they hold title in a way that if one of them dies, the other one doesn't automatically get the house, and it goes to a minor child. And so now we've got, potentially these are unmarried parents where a baby suddenly owns all of or part of the house. this is a disaster.
Disaster. Because they can call in someone from the state if there's no one that's capable, right?
So the judge will appoint
a guardian ad litem, right?
And you will not be able to sell or refinance or do anything to that house until that guardian appointed by the court determines that it's in the best interest of the baby.
Right.
So it's a nightmare. And that you really don't want to own real estate with minors.
Right. They can't make a decision. That is the number one thing. They say that and no. No. Their first words. That may be a good thing, but at some point that may change.
Exactly. But can we talk about divorce for a minute?
Yes.
I want to know that I hear from a lot of divorce lawyers who say, I always tell my clients that when the divorce is final, they should go get their estate plan. I challenge this. What I would really like people to do is when you're thinking about divorce, that's really the time to go back to what does California have in store for me? If I hit my head, somebody's going to go to court to control me. You think that's not going to be your soon-to-be ex? They're going to go to court to try to control you. Or it's going to be contested, them against your mom, them against your best friend, them against your adult kids, right? You have to take that step to say, I don't want them in the room if I'm in the hospital, and I don't want them filing my tax return, mucking around in my assets, selling my house out from under me. The other part is, what if you die before the divorce is final? If you have children, especially, you definitely want to redirect your half of the community assets, your stuff, to your children and not have it go automatically to your soon-to-be ex. Why should they get to inherit from you? So you can absolutely, and you should, start working with an estate planning lawyer at the very beginning. I like to work with clients even before they filed for divorce, because especially if divorce is going to be contentious, that can be an emotional roller coaster, and you don't have control over your time because of the court calendar, which is always changing.
Yes.
We can get you started with estate planning very early, get that piece pretty well set, and then once the divorce is final, we can do that final piece of, okay, what stuff actually is yours now that the divorce is final, and let's put those things into your trust.
Right. And you know, like I said, at any age this can happen. Look at these poor people at the parade. A little 2-year-old was running around by himself, and they just gave it to relatives. There was probably no estate plan, both of the parents.
Exactly.
It was just heartfelt. So, I mean, you know, they just gave it to next of kin, I assume, and they didn't say anything. There was a plan in place. They were a young couple. Who would think anything would happen? And hopefully never again. But this is life, right? This is a perfect example. A little 2-year-old running around, and they said they gave it to the nearest relatives, but we don't know if that's really who they wanted the child to be with. They never thought that they would be at a parade and this would happen. You know, I leave you at that. You know, anything is possible. And Patricia.
Anything is possible.
That's right.
Judges are going to make decisions that maybe make sense at that time.
That's right.
But then it turns out that your money goes to these people,
That's right.
and they get in a car accident, and they don't have enough insurance, and there goes the money.
There it goes. Poof.
There it goes.
So how do people get in touch with you? And I know that we're on the Facebook page on KHTS. You can download the app if that's easier for you. You can listen to us on the radio, 98.1 FM, 1220 AM. But most of all, I'm sure there are a lot of people that are going to want to talk to you because you are a very clever person, a great attorney, and you're a lot of fun, and you know your stuff. You don't miss a dot. So what is a good phone number for you if that's the best way?
You know what's funny is if you call us, you get a recording that says, please don't call us.
So what's a good email?
The best way to reach us is actually through our website, which is defontelaw.com. And my last name is DeFonte, Defonte. If you're listening to this and you're also a DeFonte, we are related.
All right. Woo. And we may have some additional shows. So we're going to have a couple of us professionals doing our thing and talking about real stories. So I want you to come back every Thursday between 12 and 1. And Armie and Patricia are just off the charts. And you know we're ladies that know what we're doing.